Well, all right, all right, all right. Happy Monday, happy Moon Day. It is March 27th. If you're watching this on the live, and I know I've been emailing my list, I've been talking about this show for a week now, ever since Amy, my colleague and friend and coach here, have been openly, candidly talking about what's happening in the world. Some people call it ascension, some people call it period 9. Amy can probably speak to that. We're in this huge shift. Some would call it even the birthing canal being reborn as a new earth. Lots of different definitions, but really Amy and I here tonight on this special edition of Healthy and Wealthy and Wise, just going to spend maybe 20 minutes, give or take, with you guys to kind of just bring in awareness and hopefully bring you some peace, some clarity, because as Amy and I talked about in our pre-marketing, we've been talking to a lot of people, her clients, my clients. A lot of people are freaking out. A lot of people are thinking they're going crazy. There's a lot of depression, anxiety, irritability, and not everybody wants to talk about that. But I think it's really important. The more we talk about things as the collective, the more we can be open and honest and raw and real about what's changing in the world. And I think that's what we really want to help you guys to do, is to be able to be open and not be scared. So Amy is my metaphysical coach. She's actually the first coach who, I can't even remember what year that was, if it was 2015, give or take, where she helped me go inward. We're going to be talking about that, going inward into my intuition. Because a lot of us, the reason we get triggered is because there's these external events in the world, in our relationships with clients, with money, with health issues. I mean, I don't even know where to begin, Amy, but I'd love for you to maybe share a little bit about yourself and why you wanted to talk about this topic tonight.
Oh, sure. So I'm, as Lois has introduced me, I'm Amy Tyson. I'm a metaphysics expert, and I do consulting and coaching and teaching. And I look at myself as a catalyst. So Lois said I may have been her first coach or teacher that had her go inside. And I get that a lot. I've had clients that are like, well, Amy, what you do is really interesting, but I don't want to be too woo-woo. And I said, if you don't want to be too woo-woo, start with me. And time after time after time, they're doing things that they never would have done 5 years ago. They're getting into, it's like I said, I feel like I'm a catalyst to helping people live their lives divinely guided so that they can design their destiny rather than leave things up to fate. And I honestly think that's what is happening to a lot of people right now. They're so confused, like, what is happening, that I feel so impatient. I was talking to a friend today and a client, so she knew that my advice for the month of March was be patient. And when you're feeling impatient, remember that. Be patient. Find more patience. And she told me this weekend, I was so impatient. And I kept hearing in my head, you just said be patient, be patient, be patient. Because we are going through a major transition. Like you've been saying, the birth canal is a great metaphor. I heard that last week too, last Monday. In fact, I heard that as well. I'm like, I never thought of it that way. There's all of this turmoil that's out there as we transition from what I call period 8, where we are now, to period 9. That's the metaphysical term, but Age of Aquarius, the ascension that you've been talking about, that's what's happening. And I think there 5 planets in alignment tonight and tomorrow night that you could actually see the 5 planetary alignments happening. And I will say, when things like that happen, start looking at how things are shifting here on planet Earth, because whether we believe it or not, the planetary positions, the sun, the moon, the stars, impact our planet. And therefore they impact us. And that's exactly what's happening with all this turmoil. And I mean, Lois, you know, I've talked about this, that as we go into this new era, which in my studies, in my Chinese metaphysics studies, lasts for 20 years. So 2024 to 2044. But it started affecting us in 2017. And when we hit that period 9 for 2024, mental health is going to be huge. We've, and I know you've talked about it, there's been this very overinflated masculine energy for over 5,000 years. And it's oppressed both women and men.
Yeah.
And it's kept us from becoming our true selves. So as we transition, one of my what I'm holding on to is not that women rise in power, because that's what's happening at the expense of men, but rather they come together and work together because we're better together. The yin needs the yang, and the yang needs the yin to make the whole world work together.
And that's a great segue, because I don't even know if you know this, Amy, but part of my teaching, because of my own experience after working with you and then taking it into the plant medicine realm and the just studying more, like you introduced me to Ganesha, and oh my gosh, now I have a pantheon of divine gods and goddesses. Tomorrow it's Kuan Yin's birthday. Happy birthday. So it's one of those things where the masculine and the feminine energies, we all have them, guys. We all have them. And for me, it was like accepting that and softening into the feminine and revisiting, what does feminine energy mean? Well, intuition, love, compassion, not competition, not I'm right, you're wrong. And we've actually been operating from the wounded masculine, which is power, greed, control. And I know 2017 is actually when I started going downhill and became a binge drinking workaholic, not overnight, but it started because of that masculine wound. I had zero feminine energy of the love and the compassion. It was the human doingness. And what I believe, based on what you shared, but then also my own study of all of this, is we're being called for true shadow work. You said the yin and the yang. Well, shadow and light, you can't have darkness without light. You can't have light without dark. And we've been lied to, for lack of a better term, is you got to be a good girl or a good boy. You got to follow the rules. You got to be in control of your emotions. Never let them see you sweat. Can I add any more analogies? Suck it up, buttercup. And all of that, I'm just going to say it. It's my podcast, so I can. It was bullshit, and it's not truth. And what we're trying to help you understand is, if you're feeling a lot of depression, anxiety, exhaustion, fatigue, feeling like you're losing your mind, that's because a lot of the light that's coming in right now with this 5D ascension energies, period 9, Age of Aquarius, again, we don't care what you call it. It's all the same thing. It's that we're having a light spotlight shown on our insecurities, our fears, our vulnerabilities that we've never really allowed to come forth. And if you don't, I'm sorry, but you're going to lean heavily on your addictions. You might die. You might check out. There's a prediction that we're going to decline in population for the first time in I don't know how many centuries or whatever, that there's going to be more death than birth this year. I mean, that's kind of a telling sign of the change, right?
Right. And you started to say this, but I'm just going to put it out there. We bought in to these outdated viewpoints. It's so funny you brought up that have to be a good girl. I said, we are so programmed from the minute we step into a school setting to follow the rules and don't color outside the lines and be a good girl, get the good grades. And anyone that was outside of that, at least when I was growing up, was suppressed and tried to put in a box. Now, I think there's some schools that do a better job of letting people express themselves, but we bring those outdated viewpoints into everyday life. I'm sorry, but no one told Bill Gates that he could go and do what he did. He just did it. No one has told any of the Elon Musk that he needs to go build this empire. He just went and did it. So why aren't all of us connecting in with our greatness? Because you mentioned right away that I helped you go inside. One of the key things that I share with my clients and my people that I talk with is that we all have that inner divine spark of God within, but everything in religion is outward. Everything else is out here, but no, there's the God spark within us, and we need to uncover it and ignite it and grow it, because then we can lead into getting rid of those oppressive beliefs, the issues, the traumas, and the expectations that we've acquired from our ancestry or our parents, our siblings, our friends, our spouses, our significant others, authority figures, go on and on and on. All of those expectations. But if you really connect in and understand you're truly a divine being, we're the ones we've been waiting for. I'm sorry, there's no savior out there. It's us. And so it takes every single one of us to connect in with that inner light and break through some of the old beliefs. It's exactly what you've connected in with, Lois, which I love. And it's why we're doing this session tonight. As we were talking and I got so excited about it, I go, we need to talk together about this. And this isn't about working hard and pushing to try to solve whatever's holding us back. It is, however, softening and listening and quieting and using the tools that Lois shares to help transcend and release the traumas, the things that have held us back, that old thinking and ways of doing things, so that once our lights are lit up, us moving forward helps the next person move forward.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Well, I know we're already at 11 minutes, Amy. So I know it goes fast, and we want to kind of leave you guys wanting more. But if it's okay with you, I'm going to share a little bit about my why, because you just kind of like sparked that. Because as you were talking about, it's kind of like being that rebel, like. I know I always loved like Hugh Jackman as the Wolverine, and I love Prince, right? Like, who doesn't love Prince? Because he was like, observe the masses, and I'm going to go over here and do whatever I want to. Gosh darn it, right? And so I think we all have a little bit of that inner rebel in us, and for whatever reason, I always call myself the black sheep of the family, like here to break generational myths and curses, and be different, because that was what my older brother modeled. But guess what? He died of alcoholism, right?
Yeah.
And I've lost 12 friends to suicide. One of them was a murder suicide. So one of my friends was murdered by my friend who committed suicide. You know what I'm saying? So I've had all of these people come to me in my dreams under plant medicine and like saying, hey, you need to share our message of what we couldn't do. You and people like Amy are here to bring forth this message. Like, we're all here to live an abundant life. We're all here to shine our light. And yeah, I'm here to tell you, like, religion, institutions, all of them, a lot of them have agendas, right? And to really shine your light, it takes courage. And Amy actually taught me a lot about courage. So maybe you can speak to that a little bit, but to really focus on courage, love, compassion, the feminine and masculine energy, the healed sides of those, peace, patience, kindness, the basic core values of, I think, what humanity is supposed to be about, not the power, the greed, the forcing, and the pushing. Right. Why are you here? And we want to help people wake up to their truth of that. It's not about making a lot of money. It's not about the American dream, at least not for me anymore. It's about all of those other words that I just said, because people are dying literally for things that they thought were truth. But, if you don't find that inner peace and go inside, you're not going to find that outside of yourself. But people try through alcohol, through work, through people-pleasing, codependent behaviors, medications, right? Medicating your medications. Like Big Pharma is an example of an institution that is trying to teach you to go outside of yourself, to depend upon a system that is, in my opinion, pretty broken and not following your path, your truth, your intuition. So that's part of my why of why we bring this up, because I see so many people, and I've had depression, anxiety, suicidal thoughts, the whole gamut. And once I started quieting my mind, creating more spaciousness in my life, doing breath work, things like Kundalini yoga, nutrition, really working through bringing those unconscious traumas and the shadow, we call it, forward with love and grace and having the right support, that's when the healing truly begins, because you can't heal what you can't feel. And if you keep pushing it down and pushing it down, that's the old way. That's the old system that doesn't want you to really develop your own strength and your own power. I don't know if Amy, if you can speak any more of that.
I agree with all of that. And to speak about you talk about all of the things that you've gone through, and I think in today's society, there's so much social media, and you talked about disconnecting from that. It was one of your addictions. You went from one thing to the next thing to the next thing. And I was talking with one of the health practitioners I work with, a naturopath, and she said, I just did a social media detox. And she said, my life is so much more vibrant now that I've done that. And always remember, anything on social media is the highlight reel. You don't see the reality of people's lives on that. And it's one of the things I think that our younger generation will have problems with. They already do have problems with it. And one of the concepts that I share, and Lois, you know this, is that there are 4 realms that we work in. We have, I call it heaven, earth, man, and universe. So it's the cosmic trinity and then the divine spirit. So the heaven realm is all about our thinking. And you can get your thinking all in alignment. Okay, I'm going to think positive thoughts. I'm going to think only this way. And I was in college, and my roommate at the time had a bad breakup. She went to see a counselor, and they had her put a rubber band on her wrist. And they told her, every time you catch yourself thinking about him, snap the rubber band. So it was like shock therapy. The first couple of days, that rubber band was snapping a lot. And then day after day, the snapping got less. So she switched her thinking to not think about this X. So thinking is one. So that's the heaven realm. Then the earth realm is our emotions. So we've got ways we think, but then the emotions. So when you can think positive, but if you emotionally are feeling sad, or you're feeling depressed, or that's, I think, a lot of the times when people turn to the addictive behaviors, because their emotions get raised. They get that shot of adrenaline, or they get that shot of whatever hormone. There you go. And then there's the human piece. That's the physical body. And everyone thinks, oh, it's just losing weight and working out. No, the physical body traps the trauma. I was at a networking event a week or so ago, and the speaker at this event was a pretty high-powered litigation attorney. And she was talking, and she said, when I was 4 years old, we went over to the neighbor's house, who happened to be the teacher, my preschool teacher. And she put out Cracker Jacks. And she said, I went over to the Cracker Jacks and I picked out all the peanuts. And Miss Rosebud, whatever her name was, looked at her and said, we don't do that. And she said, as a 4-year-old, that's not how we eat Cracker Jacks. We don't do that. And she said, I looked at her, I screamed, started crying, ran home, and crawled under my bed.
Aww.
And she realized that she still brings that story that happened 40 plus years ago for her into how she relates to people that tell her she's not doing something the way that it ought to be done. The body holds that trauma. It holds those experiences, whether we know it or not. They're showing up now. And this is why it's important that we listen to what our bodies are telling us, what our emotions are telling us, what our thinking is doing, is telling us. And then in my work, it's leaning into the support that's all around us, because it's in us, and it's connecting with that. And that's where you can get the courage. That's where you can get the creativity. That's where you can ask for the help to show up for you when you're facing a challenge. And that's what you've done, Lois. You've manifested, for lack of a better word, the right practitioners to come. I got goosebumps on that. The right practitioners to come into your life to help you on the path and the journey that you're on, so that you can turn around and share it with others.
Yeah, well, for me, it was definitely do or die. And unfortunately, I had to lose a lot of people to wake up. And part of that was very humbling. And you made a point earlier. I do believe a lot of us are our ancestors. And I won't go into too much detail, but I've actually, part of my healing process and releasing the body, keeping the score, is understanding that from a mental and a physical and a spiritual aspect. We're here, those of us, I don't know if you have an age range, but I think I've been studying Dolores Cannon, a great channel, and she talked about the first wave, the second wave, and the third wave. And I feel like all of the waves are experiencing the ascension symptoms, the shift from what Corinne, I want to give a shout out to my sister-in-law who talked about we've been conditioned by a patriarchal society. So just be aware of that. A lot of these ascension symptoms are actually butting up against that patriarchal society. A lot of witches were burned at the stake, right? My ancestors were killed by the Christian conversion, and those that lived, because of course I'm here, but at the same time, I know I'm carrying forward a lot of that judgment, a lot of, you shouldn't do that because that's wrong. We have the right answers. A lot of that is being broken up now. And if you don't know how, and I suppose this is kind of where we can start closing out. If I didn't have the tools that I have, which for me really quickly are what I now call my 5 fundamentals. I didn't have these 2 years ago. So trust me on this. I spent a lot of money and a lot of time figuring this out for myself, but breath work, the body keeps the score. Amy said it beautifully. I had massive releases, like deep trauma wounds released through breath work. I mean, breathing is free. Granted, the facilitator I hired was not. But now I have breath work inside of my Healthy and Wealthy and Wise subscription. I have Kundalini yoga. We have 7, actually we have more, but we have chakras inside of our system. If they're clogged or out of balance, like a lot of spiritual people will be all up in the top 3 triangle and just ignoring the bottom 3, but the bottom 3 are there for a foundational reason. You got to have a grounded root, a good sacral chakra. There's a lot of sexual trauma we've had come to us recently. Amy, I don't know if you've experienced that. A lot of solar plexus being blocked. That's your power center. I had a blocked solar plexus, sacral. I couldn't get creative because I didn't know how to at that point. It was all coming up for me to be cleared. And again, Kundalini yoga was my tool for that. But there's a lot of chakra clearing tools, proper nutrition to nourish yourself. Instead of turning, in my case, it was alcohol, social media for those false dopamine hits. And then I have meditation and different classes to help you with the ancestral wounds, the mother wound, the father wound, and to be able to help you guys. And so for those of you guys that are following me, Thursday, I have a class about a spring cleanse that I'm doing. It's a free class just to kind of help bring forward that how do you cleanse your mind, your body, and your spirit. So that's my gift to you guys for showing up today. And of course, I can't endorse Amy's offerings enough because she was a catalyst, before I even knew I needed it, to help me start to wake up and start to have these ascension symptoms and just start going inward. So Amy, maybe we can close out with what you would like to share with the group.
Certainly. And just remember, when you're going through all of this work, there's going to be something that you really resonate with that really helps you take the next step forward. Don't look at the finish line. Look at what can you do next. Just what's the one small thing you can do next to help you make this transition from where we are to where the world is heading. The world itself, Earth itself, the vibration of Earth has raised. They've actually studied it, and they see the vibration actually spiking now and not going down to the lower levels that it used to be. And that's what my work is all about, is raising your own inner vibration. I have 3 free courses on my website that you may take and go through as often as you want. You simply enter your email in there, and then you enter your birth date. And this is using 2 Chinese metaphysical charts. So you'll learn 3 different metaphysics aspects, and it's all about you. So when you're done with those 3 free classes, you'll know more about you. And then I encourage you to get out your charts of your friends, your colleagues, your boss, your spouse, your kids, your enemies, so you know more about them. And then when you're done with those 3 free classes, I actually give you a month free membership, a 30-day free membership in my monthly metaphysics mastery class. And there's no credit card that you put in, so don't worry, you're not going to be charged if you forget to not do it anymore. Because once your 30 days is up, it's done unless you proceed forward. But that 30 days actually gets you access to 2 recordings from the previous months and the next month's live event. So you could get up to 3 sessions with that 30-day free trial. I highly recommend that because I share some pretty cool stuff in there. Um, and I actually share a piece of what I share in that group with Lois and her group. And then I also just started today, Monday the 27th, something called Mantra Mondays. And this is something you can find free on my YouTube channel, my Facebook page, Instagram. I'm kind of putting it everywhere. And then I have a Telegram channel that it comes there as well. It is a mantra that uses the power of the divine source of the intuition of God spark. Every Monday morning, you sit with your back in a certain direction, and I tell you what that is to connect in. That's one of the secrets of my work is you connect in, and then it's just a quick couple-minute mantra that you say to get yourself ready and to slide into the entire week.
Yeah, I love it. I did mine. I'm so grateful for you, Amy, for restarting that or doing something
A little bit different. Yep. Thank you for inspiring me, Lois.
Well, that's what we're here for. That's another thing that this Age of Aquarius is about is collaboration. And as you shine your light, and then I want to close with a reading that I think may be a very inspiring. But as you shine your light, you're going to attract and magnify other lights that are very similar to you. The Age of Aquarius is all about making money with meaning, really taking care of yourself. Self-care is so critical. And so don't judge yourself for taking care of yourself. I know that was one of the things that I got to purge from that patriarchal masculine wound that our world has been carrying, and our men. I will say that this work has saved my marriage, but also helped it thrive. I think the number one cause of divorce isn't money. It's the wounds and the patriarchal BS that we've been carrying as a world, as a planet for so many thousands of years, like Amy said. So it's all coming up now for you to heal, to feel. And we hope that we've been a light in what may appear to be, because I've talked to a lot of y'all, what may appear to be a very dark, uncertain place. And I wanted to close with this. I have one of my spiritual mentors, just like Amy actually, is a channel. She channels divine beings, entities, ascended masters. And so she channels this. She calls it the Cosmic Times. It's a once a month publication. And I thought this was interesting, and it goes really well with what we're talking about. It's also part of my confirmation, because I already had this plan to do a spring cleanse with my clients in April. It says, "Dear human beings, you sense an urgency in this cleansing and purifying time, and you are right. The energy of Pluto," because now Pluto is in Aquarius, so we shifted from that, and we haven't been there since the late 1700s during the French Revolution and a lot of changes. So if you're feeling all of a sudden urgency, it's because Pluto's in Aquarius. So this energy of Pluto is a do or die energy to carry the heavy detritus of the Capricorn years, which really, really has been around for quite some time. It's a poisonous time, and it will destroy you if you don't take care of yourself. It is time to let go of your obsessive attention to the horizontal, again, looking outside yourself, comparing the American dream, all of that kind of stuff, and refocus the vertical, internal, up to the heavens, right? As your awareness moves to what is opening within you, your living will become more finely aligned with who you are rather than with what you accomplish. So waking up to who you truly are is what this is also about. In this way, you will be making a shift from doing to being and truly become the human beings you were designed to be. Many of you right now are putting into place for yourselves plans for spiritual and healing retreats, enabling and supporting you in this necessary and crucial transition. Listen to your heart or intuition and follow your divine guidance. Your heart will not mislead you. The patriarchy wants you to stay stuck up here, the institutions and the pharmaceutical industry, right? They all want you to stay right here. So although it may sound demanding and arduous, this is a wonderful time, wonderful news, so that you can really experience what you've been hoping and yearning for, when a hunger for spirit will fill human hearts. So this is what's happening for us. Whether you agree with this or not is totally up to you, but really appreciate you letting me share that. And Amy, thank you so much for your time, for helping, reminding me and all of us to go inward and to really embrace this time, because it's actually a very exciting time to be alive, even though there's days where I'm like, what's going to happen? I still don't know.
Yeah. It is an exciting time to be alive. And I'll just share something that I just channeled not too long ago, kind of along those same lines about the flame. It was the message was allow your inner flame to burn brightly, spreading light across the world, illuminating the path to happiness and bliss. Live like this, and you will experience limitless joy. Go forth and burn brightly.
Yep. Amen to that. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. I know we had a really good crowd. It's kind of late or early if you're in India. I don't know where you're tuning in from, guys, but thank you for tuning in. Coach Lois here with Amy Tyson with Infinity Life Design, signing off for another episode of Healthy and Wealthy and Wise. Until next time, guys, here's to your best health, your best wealth, and again, starting to learn how to develop that best wisdom, which is not from external factors. It's really within. So hopefully we can help you guys. Reach out if you have any questions, and we'll see you next time.